I turned 25 recently and spent a lot of time thinking about the decisions that moved me forward and the ones that cost me years. I started with nothing, without a rich family, no connections, no roadmap. I figured most of it out by doing it wrong first and paying attention to what happened. And there are things I wish someone had told me clearly when I was starting out, instead of letting me discover them the hard way. So if you're between 20 and 30, this is for you. Prioritize skill before money. The instinct most people have when they're young is to find whatever pays the most right now. And that instinct will keep you stuck for a long time. The people who build real wealth almost always went through a period where they chose the harder path, the one that pay less but taught more, because skill is the asset that compounds. The more generally good you get at something valuable, the more leverage you have over your own income, your own time, and your own options. Money follows skill, so chasing money before you're good at anything is like trying to harvest before you have planted. But developing that skill in isolation only takes you so far, which leads to the second thing. Choose carefully who you take advice from. Most of the opinions you receive about what you should do in your life come from people who have never done what you're trying to do. And those opinions are malicious. They come from people who care about you, but caring about someone and being qualified to guide them are completely different things. If you want to build something online, take advice from someone who helped build something online. If you want to develop a skill that pays well, learn from someone who has that skill and gets paid well for it. So you have to be selective about whose voice you let into your head when you make decisions that matter, because the wrong advice at the right moment can cost you years. Now, even with the right skill and the right guidance, there's a trap most people fall into without realizing it, which is to produce more than you consume. Now, the third advice, produce more than you consume. This one is simple and most people get it completely backwards. Consuming content feels productive because you're learning, and learning matters, but there's a point where consuming becomes a way of avoiding the discomfort of actually making something. Most people spend their entire lives on the receiving end, watching, reading, scrolling, and never building anything that lasts. The people who get ahead are the ones who shift from consumer to producer. They write, they create, they ship, they put things into the world and learn from what happens. That shift is one of the most important things you can do in your 20s. And there's one skill that accelerates everything you produce is this next one. Learn to sell. This is the skill most people avoid because it makes them uncomfortable. Exactly why the people who learn it have such a massive advantage. Selling is not manipulation, it's communication. It's the ability to understand what someone needs, show them that you have it, and make it easy for them to say yes. Every business runs on this. Every career depends on it on some degree. And the person who can sell will never run out of options, regardless of the economy, the industry, or the circumstances. If you learn one skill in your 20s, make it this one. Your environment sets your ceiling. You can have the best strategy in the world and still move slowly if the people around you think that what you're trying to build is unrealistic, irresponsible, or just not what people like you do. The standards of whoever you spend the most time with become your standards, whether you are aware of it or not. If everyone around you thinks a stable job is the goal, starting a business feels reckless. If nobody in your circle talks about building wealth, it says an abstract idea rather than a real plan. So pay attention to who you spend your time with, because that environment is shaping your ceiling whether you realize it or not. Being busy is not the same as making progress. Most people who feel stuck are not lazy, they are just exhausted. They are doing a lot of things, attending a lot of meetings, sending a lot of messages, consuming a lot of content about productivity, and none of it is moving them closer to actually what matters. Movement and progress are different things. The question worth asking regularly is not how much did I do today, but did what I did today actually move something forward in a meaningful way? If the answer is no, it doesn't matter how full your calendar was. Build assets, not a lifestyle. The car, the clothes, the apartment that signals success before you build it. Those things feel like rewards, but they are actually holes in a bucket that will keep you dependent on your next paycheck indefinitely. An asset puts money in your pocket, a liability takes money out. Most people spend their 20s and 30s accumulating liabilities while telling themselves they are being successful. The people who build real wealth are the ones who delay the lifestyle long enough to build things that generate returns. You can have the lifestyle later, but build the foundation first. And part of building that foundation is being willing to get things wrong. Which brings us to the next lesson. Failing early is an advantage. The mistakes you make at 22 cost you almost nothing compared to the same mistakes at 40. You have time to recover, time to adjust, time to try again with everything you learned from getting it wrong. The problem is that most people treat early failure as evidence that they are not cut out for something, instead of recognizing it exactly the education they needed. The people who get generally good at anything have almost always been bad at it for a while first. That period isn't a detour, it's the path. So give yourself permission to fail before you know what you're doing. That's how you figure out what you're doing. Your reputation is the asset that outlasts everything else. The money can be lost, the business can fail, the followers can disappear, but how people talk about you when you're not in the room is something that follows you everywhere and compounds over time in ways that are hard to quantify but impossible to ignore. Every shortcut that compromises your integrity, every time you overpromise and underdeliver, every relationship you treat carelessly, these things accumulate. And so does the opposite. Show up consistently, do what you say you're going to do, treat people well even when there's nothing in it for you right now. That reputation becomes one of the most valuable things you own. Now, start before you're ready. You'll never feel completely ready. That feeling doesn't arrive when you have more money or more knowledge or more confidence. It doesn't go away with more preparation. The people who build things don't wait for it to disappear. They act despite it. The gap between where you are and where you want to be will not close through more research or more planning. It closes through starting, adjusting, and starting again. The learning that happens in the first 6 months of actually doing something is worth more than years of preparing to do it. So start now and figure the rest out as you go. I'm Kayan, and on this channel I break down the real side of building a business online. So subscribe if you want more of this.